Diving into what the internet can't stop talking about. It's time for Trending Tuesday on Franklin County's favorite morning show, The Starting Lineup, fueled by Loco Coffee. And now for your hosts, Joe Abraham and Chewy.
Good morning and welcome into the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester, fueled by Loco Coffee. And this morning, Chewy, already a morning of bad decisions.
Huh?
You know, took me a little while getting up, getting rolling. Had a little coffee this morning, and I'm listening to you. I was running late because just like not feeling it this morning. Didn't get out of the house till on time. So I got to listen to you and Doc just moments ago. I'm like, I walk in the front door here at the studio, and I'm like, this just is unacceptable. I need a little extra boost. I need a little extra pick-me-up. So after listening to you and Doc talk about all the bad things that you shouldn't be putting in your body, like, I don't know, water that's been sitting in a warm plastic bottle.
He was just listing my entire diet, basically.
Yeah, he was. But I come in the door, and there on the table is my pre-workout and a 3/4 of the way drunk water bottle from last night that's been sitting under the AC unit, which is running heat.
Oh,
so it's warm.
Well, so just breaking all the rules.
Yeah, I'm like, this seems like a good decision.
Yeah.
And so, I definitely hammered an entire scoop of pre-workout in about a puddle of water. But my stomach is not hurting or anything. I'm good.
Okay,
good to go.
Well, it's not hurting now, but like 5 years from now, whenever we both keel over, people are going to be like, that was what's wrong with him.
No, it definitely hurts all of a sudden. Probably a bad choice.
Yeah. Brett Crabtree jumped into the
Good morning,
chat
Brett.
almost immediately. I got to say, his timing is like impeccable.
Yes.
I got to say, Brett, great job jumping in. Thank you so much for jumping.
I think he's got alarms set on his phone or notifications or something.
Well, he absolute rock star.
He's teaching the rest of you guys how to do it.
Absolutely, dude.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, see?
So today on the show, it is a Trending Tuesday here on the starting lineup. It is also our chance to catch up with handsome Rob Kortner. In hour number 2, Rob is coming in to boast his bracket over all of us, to lord his bracket over all of us. But in hour number 1, Chewy, we are going to have the hospital in. Maggie Gibson's coming in. They're bringing in a guest this morning as well. Miss Sowers is coming in as well. But they're bringing in a guest this morning. We're going to get to talk to them here in just a few moments. Before we get to all of that, I need to stop and step back because I need to set the scene. I discovered something yesterday.
Okay.
So you know how I came in and I was all sad-faced Joe about my little poopy pants Joe about my bracket from over the weekend because I'm sitting in 25th place.
Right.
Okay. I discovered something yesterday, and everybody needs to pay attention here, okay? Because this is important. I am still friggin' awesome. Okay, let me describe what I found. If you go to the men's tournament challenge thing and you go to our group, show groups, it says that I'm currently in 25th place. But there is a little thing that you can click on that says group forecast.
Oh.
And what the group forecast button does is it reorganizes all of the brackets by who actually has a chance to win and what their percentage chance of winning is. Okay?
Right.
So like the likelihood that you've got any kind of an opportunity. So I am currently in 25th place, and I have a 4.3% chance to win the entire bracket. Now, you may say, well, 4.3%, that's not very high. It's actually like the 7th or 8th best odds out of anybody to win. Rob Kortner, Handsome Rob, is in first. He's got a 6.9% chance to win for comparison.
Cool.
Dan Smith, I don't know how Dan Smith has an 8.7% chance to win, but he has the highest percentage chance to win. So, my point is, I am still liking where I'm sitting. And I am better than you think that I am.
Okay.
Per this group forecast thingy.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to see it.
I found a way to argue that I'm better than I am.
He found a good loophole, I guess.
I did.
Brett says, y'all are the highlight of my morning. Well, thanks, Brett. I really appreciate that.
Oh, that's
really
depressing. Chewy and I have very different opinions on that. That's very nice. That's depressing.
Well, two things can be true at once. Yeah,
oh, gosh.
Shout out to Brett Crabtree.
Yeah. So
4.0, boy.
Listen, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
No, 4.3% chance.
Okay. Well, I suspect you'll probably land somewhere in the top 10, if I had to guess.
Chewy, I'm fairly certain you got a no percent chance.
Oh, no. Anyway, so, moving on.
You do. You have a 0% chance.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Question.
Yes.
Have you picked out a Vols shirt yet? Because if anybody didn't watch Johnny Hand's the afternoon handoff the other day, you guys made a deal. Because I made a deal with you that if you break the top 10, I will go with you to the gym.
Okay. So.
Because we haven't talked about it on this show.
Here's the problem with this whole thing. I don't know if Johnny. What do I get from Johnny? Because you're right. So if I break the top 10, you're going to the gym.
Absolutely.
If I'm outside the top 10, I'm wearing an orange shirt per Johnny.
Yeah.
But what do I get from Johnny if I break the top 10?
Ooh, good point. Good point. You have to call it...
He's got to come up with something. But, no, I haven't picked out. I think I'm going to need a... I don't know if I own that color.
Really?
I think I'm going to need a Vols shirt provided.
Okay. Rob might be able to help you out with
I'm sure.
Let's see.
Man.
Brett Crabtree says, I want to be the first to ask if y'all have heard anything about the quadruple amputee professional cornhole player who shot a guy in an argument while he was driving. I'll give y'all a second to process, and then we can talk about that.
I did see that.
Yeah. I'm glad he brought that up.
I did see that pop up on my timeline, and it is a trending Tuesday. So there are a couple of things that we may have a chance to get into this morning, including Alan Richson, the guy from Reacher.
Didn't he beat the tar out of somebody?
Yeah, and he lives up in like Brentwood.
Yeah.
And he and his kids were riding motorcycles up and down the street, and some guy came out to confront him. I like Alan Richson as an actor, but apparently he's a douche.
Oh, okay.
Because in front of his kids, he just like beats the snot out of this guy. Then, yes, we have Cornhole Guy. Today's show kind of writes itself in that regard. We have Cornhole Guy who's got no arms and no legs.
Driving.
Also plays cornhole. And apparently attempted murder.
I am genuinely, just out of morbid curiosity, I would like to see how the prosecution puts this together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the other day I saw a video of a woman who got pulled over, and the cop says you were texting and driving, but she literally was an amputee and did not have a right hand. And he said, I saw it in your right hand. And she looked at him and goes, you saw me holding my phone in my right hand. And he goes, that's what I said. And he gave her a ticket. And it feels like one of those moments, but I'm genuinely so surprised by this. So
yeah,
we need to delve into that whenever we get a chance.
Dayton Weber, 27, accused over shooting death of Braderick Wells in Maryland, reportedly after argument inside of the car. And yeah, there's a picture of him in this article. He ain't got no arms or legs.
I'm very interested to see, like, what they're going to say and how he performed it. It's just that's a pretty wacky story, to say the least.
How do you do it? How do you?
I don't know. All will be told in Discovery, I hope. I'm nosy when it comes to like lawsuits and stuff, real bad. Like I'll read a Discovery if it's public,
Investigators said Weber Wells and the other passengers were all known to each other. They did not elaborate on the possible motive for the victim's killing. Asked whether or not the sheriff's office suspected Wells was shot dead with a gun that had equipment adapting it for use by someone without hands. An agency spokesperson said that was unknown.
I mean, you would have to be, though, right?
This article, I have more questions.
Yeah, it's very aristocratic.
Where would the GSR? I've seen CSI. Where would the GSR go?
Yeah, Rich says his defense has no legs to stand on it, per se. I don't know. Well, you know what? We also didn't talk about is how Afro Man totally wiped the floor with that police department, by the way, with the free speech case.
I didn't see that.
You didn't hear about this?
Nope.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, you need to read about that whenever the hospital comes in, dude. Wild case. Absolutely amazing.
Okay, hold on. So this guy competes in the American Cornhole League, also known as the ACL.
Are you? Oh, wow. So
they're just rubbing it in his face
that's
now.
That's like just rude. Andrew jumped in this morning saying hello. Brett Crabtree says no fingerprints found on the murder weapon. So, good point.
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
It's oh my God, I just got that joke. Nobody born after 2000 will get that joke.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, very interesting story and very tragic. I'm sorry that it happened, but I am fascinated by it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like it's cartoonish. Do you know what I mean? To get to that set of circumstances. A lot of interesting law stuff happening in the past few weeks.
Also, did you see the crash that happened up in LaGuardia?
No.
You had a fire truck collide with an airplane, Air Canada plane, and it hit the front end of the plane and killed both the pilots in the plane. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
So the air traffic controller, they had like an emergency that was ongoing, and the traffic controller on the ground, it's his job to direct ground traffic as well at the airport, and basically said he screwed up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Fire truck collided with the airplane. They said one of the pilots, they said they found her in her chair. Like her entire chair got ejected from the airplane.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That is
really
unbelievable.
Terrible. Anyway, it is a trending Tuesday.
Gosh.
So there is some of that stuff going on today's show. One of the things that I want to get to as well, over the weekend, we saw this flag football tournament, and I'm going to save some of this take for tomorrow. But there was a flag football tournament in which you had NFL players, current and former, as well as celebrities and other things like that, playing in a flag football tournament against Team USA's Olympic hopeful. I don't know if you heard that flag football has come to the Olympics, Chewy.
Yeah, they were talking about that on the show before ours for a little bit, telling them to put some respect on flag football and this and that, and I had no idea why it was even being brought up.
Yeah, well, the whole put some respect on the flag football team's name, pump the brakes a little bit.
Oh,
because
okay.
here's what I want to say. As well as the flag football team, so the flag football team, Chewy, beat the brakes off of our NFL players and some of these celebrities and stuff like that. They beat the absolute snot out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Like just
and like Tom Brady was one of the players and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Ashton Janty was in the game. It was a mix of a bunch of guys who have played together for all of like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And don't even know the rules of the game, all these things. Now, I get that the flag football guys beat up on our NFL guys, but what I would like to say is simply, again, the flag football players who know the game and understand how to play it, they've been practicing together for God knows how long. right? And these other guys, these NFL players, if you were to put them in an opportunity where they get to practice for like a month or something like that, they're going to ultimately be better than the flag football team. The NFL guys are capable physically of things that the flag football players are not. So I get that we lost, but two, you got to take into account, it's not like it was the best of the best from the NFL. We're talking about retirees, and yes, there were some players, but it was a mixed bag of who you've got.
Right.
You know, when was it Jake Paul or the other Paul? What's the other Paul? Logan Paul. Well, I think it was Jake Paul. When you got one of the Paul brothers playing middle linebacker, it's not like you're boasting talent. Yeah. Anyway,
hey, Doug Garrett, before we jump into the break, he asked, am I too late to hear the news on how Joe is still winning the bracket challenge? No, he did address it this morning. What was the percentage you said?
4.3%.
So you've got a 4.3% of actually winning at the end of this tournament.
Yes, I'm technically still in the top 10 as far as chances to win the bracket challenge.
All right.
So hold on to your butts, people. I'm not done yet.
All right.
All right, let's get the break in here. The hospital has arrived. We will have them in when we come back. It is the starting lineup fueled by Loco Coffee on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Starting off our morning a little bit cloudy and then gradually clearing up to a high of 70 degrees today. Got some calm winds as well coming in from the east-southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Get out there and enjoy some of this beautiful weather while you enjoy ESPN Radio Winchester 1340 1069 for all of your wonderful weather updates.
This is Daryl from Columbus, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Let's check in scissor hands. I'm the wrong guy to ask, but what's the secret to a good haircut?
A good haircut makes you feel confident. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when you get that haircut, you're going to walk out that barbershop, you're going to look in the mirror, and you're going to be like, yeah, that's it. And you're going to tip the barber.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC Network.
Choose More Courtney Funeral Home. Well, they're a fifth-generation funeral home taking care of the people of Franklin County since 1905. They're committed to serving you, dedicated to providing personalized, professional, and compassionate service to help lighten your burden and help you out during these difficult times. More Courtney Funeral Home, 300 First Avenue Northwest in Winchester, 967-2222. More Courtney Funeral Home.
Got a project to tackle or a party to plan? Skip the stress and rent it instead at Reliable Rental in Winchester. From tools and heavy-duty machines to chairs, tables, and event essentials, they've got what you need to get the job done right. Whether it's work or a weekend celebration, Reliable Rental makes it easy. Stop by 2433 Deckard Boulevard in Winchester or check out everything they offer online at ReliableRentalFC.com. Reliable Rental. When you need it, they've got it.
When life hits you hard, you need someone who will stand up and fight back for you. Andy Davis, attorney at law, serves Southern Middle Tennessee in personal injury, criminal defense, family law, bankruptcy, and more. Call today to set up your free consultation, where you'll get clear answers, honest guidance, and a plan built around your needs. Online at southerninjurylaw.com. This is an advertisement. Andy Davis, attorney at law, responsible for content. No representation is made that the quality of legal services is greater than that of other lawyers.
There was an outline for today's show, but it didn't survive the opening segment. Back to Joe and Chewy on the starting lineup right here on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester. Joe Abraham in studio now with us. We have the entire hospital crew, Maggie Gibson, Angie Sowers, and you guys brought with you Dr. Bearer. That's correct?
The bearer of good tidings.
The bearer of good tidings with you this morning. And I am really excited about this conversation because I got to see Dr. Bearer speak at a Prevention Coalition meeting just this past week, I think that it was, and learned a lot of really cool information. And so, Maggie, thank you so much for bringing him in this morning.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him to share it with some of our listeners.
We're excited to be here. We always bring a big crew with us and a guest, so we're excited to have Dr. Bearer here. Dr. Bearer is newer to the community. You joined here a couple months ago, and he works in interventional pain management here in our clinic and in our hospital. So, Angie, do you want to give Dr. Bearer a little intro since you were with him during the Prevention Coalition?
Oh, listen, I have spent a lot of
all
time.
the time?
Yes, I've spent a lot of time. First off, I want to say I'm glad that my jam is back with my peanut butter.
Yes, there you go. I missed the last time.
You and I are like peanut butter and jelly, and like, I was missing you last time. So, but yes, I am more than happy to be the hype girl this morning on Dr. Bearer. So I've spent a lot of time taking him out in the community. Like you said, speaking at the Prevention Coalition, going out and about to other clinics and hospitals and all the things, and we are very excited and very happy to have him with us at our crew. He was much needed, and does all things spine and pain. And so I want him to be able to talk today, and I'm going to quit talking in a minute, but I want him to talk on all the things that he does to help with chronic pain management, issues that folks have, but also a lot of the procedures that he's able to do for us in the OR and for folks out in the community, because I know he's a huge advocate of not just, giving folks their medications as they may be warranted in certain instances, but also a big advocate for getting to the root cause and seeing what procedures and interventions need to be done that way. So I will hush now and turn it over to my friend. I feel like, Dr. Bearer.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I've been in town since October. Hail originally from Michigan. So
we won't hold that against you. I hail from New York, so.
Looking forward to a Michigan-Tennessee Elite Eight.
There you go.
Yeah, and in terms of pain management, I think a lot of times people tend to think of it as like you go there to get, pain medication.
Right.
There's a lot more to it. There are, non-sort of narcotic pain medications that you can talk about, physical therapies, exercises, depending on what your pain condition is. There are like interventional procedures. We can interrupt the signal for, say, spinal arthritis on a semi-permanent basis. There are minimally invasive treatments for spinal stenosis. A lot of things now that have been coming along that you can do in between, say, I have back pain and then seeing the spine surgeon.
Right. Well, and so what it sounds like is, and when I kind of saw your name on the text message from Angie, and I didn't realize that you were the same guy because I came in late to the meeting the other day, but what it sounds like is that you're not necessarily, it's not about the chemistry of the pills or the whatever, people are being given, but your focus is on the body, on the electrical signals that create the feelings of pain, and where those stem from, how they originate, and what's going on in the body. And that's, while yes, you're an expert on some of these other things, that's your focus, is the individual's actual pain management within their own body. And everybody's a little bit different, I guess, in that way. Everybody deals with it a little bit differently.
Yeah, everyone has different goals and expectations.
Yeah.
You might have a, octogenarian who just wants to be able to go out and get their mail.
Right.
Versus maybe father of four who really wants to be outside and playing softball with the kids.
Right.
So they might take a completely different approach to each one of those.
Yeah. Well, and two, one of the things that you talked about, which I thought was tremendous the other day, in regards to pain management, I think in recent years there's been this stigma in regard to being given pills and things like that, and taking medicine for pain management. But I couldn't believe, I was blown away at your conversation that surrounded how most people who are given a prescription, they take the prescription pills as directed, and it doesn't cause any problems for them. It's a very small percentage that actually fall into, and we're talking about addiction and other things like that. I want to start there because I think that that's the perception. It's a lot bigger of an issue with people who are prescribed pain medication when it's not. A lot of times people who are addicted to pain medication or have those types of problems, they're people who have underlying issues, and they're actually dealing with multiple addictions at the same time and other things like that. They're taking much more than just prescribed medication. And that blew me away, because there's this stigma that floats around that, I can't get prescribed pain medication if I go to the doctor because I'm going to get addicted. And you talked on that the other day, but touch on that a little bit this morning for us.
Well, I think there's a lot of sort of bad information out there when it comes to opiates and the opiate crisis.
Yeah.
We've seen sort of all-cause deaths from drugs been rising since the 70s, and it's been going up exponentially. And since the 70s, we really started to really track it as an all-drug death rate, right?
Right.
There's been different time periods where different drugs were sort of contributing to that death. In the 90s,
right,
cocaine was huge. And now we're in opiates. But I think there's been a lot of a stigma surrounding that, because I think when you look at, somebody says an opiate death, I think the person walking the street thinks, well, somebody took a hydrocodone after their knee surgery and they died.
Right.
But when you really look at the data, that's not necessarily true. A lot of these deaths are occurring with a lot of other drugs in their system.
Right.
And we're picking one and pinning it as the root cause.
Right.
So I think there's that. I think there's another stigma too, that I think people just think that opiates will cure any pain, but that's not necessarily the case too.
Yeah. Yeah, what you talked about the other day was, a lot of times what you'll have addicts who are already dealing with that challenge in their life, and they haven't addressed it, and maybe they're hooked on meth, or maybe they're on something other, and they come across an opportunity. Maybe it's they're over at their sister's for dinner, and they notice there's a bottle of pills or something like that, and they snatch them out of the bathroom or something like that. A lot of times they're already dealing with some of those underlying addiction issues, and that's what, again, people need to be aware of, is from a pain management standpoint, it's not necessarily that people who are going in for surgeries and other things like that are becoming addicted and then becoming drug users and all the it's that these things are out there for a good reason, to help people and recover from these things and deal with these challenges of pain. And there is an underlying addiction issue that is much greater than just what you guys are doing from a medical standpoint. It was eye-opening to me, and I'm doing a bad job, I know, of kind of explaining it. But when I saw the statistics, it blew me away, because I'm a big numbers guy, and it blew me away how small the percentage of people who actually have problems post-surgery with something like this is.
Well, and that's, I feel like, too, during the conversation the other day, I mean, we know folks come to our hospital for procedures. They need surgeries. They need all the things that we can provide. There's also traumatic injuries that happen, whether it be from, a vehicle accident or, a farmer out had an accident. There's all sorts of things. And I think too that with the like primary care, clinics not wanting to get in the weeds of the pain management,
right?
That's because they're wanting to refer those patients with whatever issues they're having, whether it's be from a surgery or traumatic injury or just, we get age on us and things start kind of breaking down. They refer those to a professional like Dr. Bayer because he can assess whether there's a nerve ablation. I mean, whether they need a spinal stimulator or whether they need some of these, kyphoplasty, all the things that he can do in our OR to kind of help with those issues rather than the, narcotics. No, but there is a time and a place. That's just one tool in the arsenal, right?
Right.
It's not the only tool. So that's why I've kind of learned more and more about all the things that he can do to kind of get to the root cause of those pain issues. And I feel like that's why a lot of the primary care folks refer to him, because he's needing to look down, put his investigator hat on and kind of dig into the weeds of what's causing the pain in the first place.
Right. Well, and I don't want to spend, more time on it than really we already have. But I do think that it's important when we start the conversation, because immediately that's the first thing that comes to mind, because that's what you hear so much in the media, right, is that there's people out there pushing pills out like left and right. Now, going back to what you do, Dr. Baer, again, talking about the physiology of people and how their body actually works, at what point would you say that somebody needs to start seeking help in regard to pain management when they start running into challenges and it becomes too much for them?
That's an excellent question. The thing I ask people every the first time I see them is, what are your goals for this? I myself have been dealing with, I can't seem to break the soft tissue problems in the last, 4 years or so. But I'm able to get along in life and, achieve all the goals that I set for myself. But if you find yourself where it's interrupting your goals or the things you want to do, it's interrupting your relationships, how you get along with family, your mental health, those are times where it's like, hey, maybe I need to start doing something about it.
Yeah. Well, you gotta be careful with what you say, because Chewy may come to you about pain management regarding me. He's going to try and get rid of me. Half the stuff that you described.
Well, that's because last time I was on here, like twice, you was threatening to whoop his booty. So I mean,
that's what that bat is there for.
Poor Chewy.
But no, I mean, a lot of people are, especially our listeners. I know half of our listeners. In fact, I think Brett was just talking about how he was having to go see a doctor here recently. But a lot of our listeners, they'll wake up stiff, they'll wake up sore, they'll wake up hurting. Katie yesterday threw out her back. She woke up in the morning and she's like, I threw out my back sleeping. How does that even happen? But what is the biggest mistake you think that people are making around our society these days in terms of trying to just deal with the pain?
Another very good question. If you look at a person's functional capacity, what they're able to do and tolerate really starts to decrease around 35. And you kind of hit your peak, and it actually starts decreasing through time unless you're doing something actively to keep yourself able to tolerate more. Well, eventually you reach the point where you've deconditioned yourself so much where doing the laundry is too much and it puts you on the sideline. So
that's my excuse for doing the laundry.
It's not working. It's not working.
I tell people staying active is really good for a lot of things, not just for your heart, for your cholesterol, for your, maybe diabetes,
right,
but also for your ability to handle and get along in the world when you're 85.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our bodies are made to move, and so many of our jobs these days are sedentary, and we're sitting at a desk. Now, that being said, we do have a lot of listeners who have physical jobs, and as far as some of those types of things, what can they be doing differently maybe to protect themselves? Or if it's just somebody like me who spends a lot of time at the gym and things like that, are there things that folks can do to kind of avoid developing injury or pain or things like that in the long run?
I think a combination of cardiovascular fitness and strength training is really important. I think knowing your limitations, you can't come off the couch and decide, you know what, I'm going to run a marathon. You know, you have to have yourself on a diligent regimen where you increase intensity or, you know, what you're doing on a planned basis. You know, because if you wind up, you're used to doing so much working out, and the next week you double it,
yeah,
you're going to be on the sideline.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, somebody calls you small at the softball field and you spend 2.5 hours in the gym, you end up sore the next day. I've been there. In regard to the stigma around pain management, obviously we've touched on it. People immediately think prescriptions, but what are some of the more modern pain management practices, and what does that field actually look like today? Because the science has probably exploded here in recent years, as it has in a lot of different areas. But is there something that is a little bit maybe of a misperception about people within the community?
I think the biggest misperception is probably that opiates will pretty much treat any pain out there, which isn't the case. There are lots of non-opiate medications, and pain is transmitted by nerves. So non-opiate pain medications tend to fall into medication categories that work on nerves, whether that's an antidepressant class, anti-seizure medications that are good for pain. But also there are things we can do to sort of reverse maybe what's going on or intervene in what's going on. If somebody has bad arthritis, we can actually interrupt the pain signal from their joints so that they don't sense the pain signal. It won't change what's going on in their joints, won't change the arthritic process, but their perception of the pain. Somebody has a narrowed spine, we have some minimally invasive ways to kind of open it up. Maybe get them, able to walking to get the mail or getting around the grocery store without having to sit down or get a scooter. One thing I've noticed since coming here is the bone health around this area is pretty poor, and I've been seeing a lot of people with spine fractures.
Really?
Yeah, some pretty severe ones.
Wow.
That rank on my Mount Rushmore in my careir.
Wow.
I've only been here 5 months.
I was going to ask you about the different areas that maybe you've practiced in, and in regard to this area, is there anything specific? So it's funny that you get into that. But what are some of the different challenges? Do you see people waiting too long to come in to manage their pain because of maybe the stigmas that are out there? Or what are some of the things that you're running into in this area specifically outside of crazy spinal fractures?
Yeah. I don't know that there's necessarily anything different. You get, the guys who have pain and they just accept it as a normal part of life. So for them, it's not interrupting anything they do. They don't want to come see me, even though people will tell them to. And if they don't, as long as they're happy and carrying on, that's okay.
Right.
And then you got people with, that just can't accept any sort of uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
So a lot of it has to do with your goals and your expectations of what you're going to get out of this.
Right.
People come in saying, what's going to get rid of all my pain? First thing I say to them is, I don't know that we're going to be able to do that.
Right.
You're going to have aches and pains.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, you're 72. But can we get you to the point where you can get around the grocery store?
Right. Yeah.
I think we can do that.
Yeah. That's
but
a great point.
I'm not telling you you're going to be 20 anymore.
Right. No, I think that's a great point. And it does go back to sometimes as well, you've got folks who you've lived your life, 50 or 60 years a certain way, and, now you're kind of paying for it, and you're going to have to deal with the repercussions. And so I think that having that conversation, like you said, early on when they're in their late 20s, early 30s, prior to some of this stuff settling in, preparing your body to function a little bit better long term is definitely something to consider.
Yeah. If you keep on things, I don't think there's any real big secret to it.
Yeah.
A moderate amount of exercise, moderate diet, try and stay away from the processed things, And some things you just can't avoid.
Yeah, it's tough these days.
Taking a softball to the head when you're the father of four, and unfortunately, those things happen.
All right, we're going to get a quick break in here. We'll be back with Dr. Bear on the other side, as well as Maggie and Angie. And we'll talk about some of the services that are available that you may not even realize exist over there at High Point Health with Ascension St. Thomas. It is the starting lineup. We'll be back on the other side on ESPN Radio 1340, 1069 WCDT Winchester.
When we hear drug-endangered children, we may picture extreme situations, but substance misuse can affect any child through unsafe environments, unsecured medications, or even impaired driving. Protecting children is everyone's responsibility. The Franklin County Prevention Coalition partners with schools and law enforcement to raise awareness and provide tools that keep kids safe. Because when we work together to protect our children, we are stronger together. Learn more at fcpctn.org/DEC. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Spring is a season of renewal, and at High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas, your health is always in season. From routine checkups to advanced care, their dedicated team is here to help you feel your best today and every day. Compassionate care backed by the strength of Ascension St. Thomas. This spring, take a moment for your health. Learn more or find a provider at highpointhealthsystem.com. High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas. Caring for you for every season of life.
Divorce and custody cases can turn your life upside down fast. Veneer Law brings clarity, strategy, and confident representation, whether you're working towards an agreement or preparing for court. We focus on fair outcomes and parenting plans that put the kids first and make sure parents are heard. Custody, clarity, confidence. Grant Veneer, the divorce and custody lawyer, online at veneerlaw.com.
It's time for a local news break from the 931 Go News Center.
Franklin County residents are invited to gather for the America 250 and the Tennessee 250 celebration, along with the National Day of Prayer on Thursday, May 7th, 2026. The event will take place from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Franklin County Annex, located at the old high school football field. The National Day of Prayer ceremony is scheduled for 6 p.m. on the field, offering the community an opportunity to unite in prayer for the nation, local leaders, and families across Franklin County. The evening will also feature food trucks, barbecue, popcorn, drinks, and a kids zone with activities and entertainment for children. Mayor Chris Guest has discussed the event on ESPN Radio Winchester and emphasized the importance of community involvement. Organizers are encouraging local businesses, churches, and civic groups to participate. Those interested can contact the Franklin County Mayor's office for more information. In public safety news, surrounding law enforcement agencies are warning residents about a new scam circulating via text message. The scam involves an official-looking court notice claiming to be from Davidson County and demanding payment to avoid fines or penalties. Authorities stress that the messages are fake. Residents are urged not to click the links, scan QR codes, or send money. Suspicious messages can be reported to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. In sports, the Franklin County Rebels fell to Coffee County 7-2 in the final game of the Rebel Wildcat Classic, snapping a 6-game winning streak. The Rebels now sit at 7-3 and will host Marshall County Monday night at 6 p.m. The Rebelettes dropped 2 games at the Wildcat Classic, falling to Alcoa and East Hamilton. They now stand at 6-8 and will travel to Siegel Monday for a 6:30 p.m. first pitch. For more local news and sports updates, visit 931go.com. Stay informed and stay connected to your community with ESPN Radio Winchester.
Hey folks, I'm Johnny Hand from WCDT, the home for Franklin County Athletics. From Friday night football to every big game in between, we're proud to bring you all the action that keeps our community cheering. Want to be part of that excitement? We'd love to talk with you about advertising and other great opportunities to support our local athletes. So give us a call today at 931-967-2201 or stop by the station at 1201 South College Street right here in Winchester. WCDT Winchester. We are Franklin County.
We apologize if this is your first time, but yes, unfortunately, this is normal. You're listening to the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester. A lot of folks jumping in the into the chat with questions, comments, concerns, things like that. Vivian Kate mentioned a few years ago that she had a pastor's son that she knew that had a soccer injury, ended up getting addicted to pain meds, and went to rehab, other things like that. Eventually, he took his own life, and she says at the end, "I wish he'd had Dr. B to help him." Chris Lambert says, "No pain, no game. Opioids, however, are horrible." And this is the thing again about the perception. A lot of the perception is that they are horrible, and what I learned specifically, because I was like a lot of these people, afraid of I don't want to be on pain medication. What I learned the other day at the Prevention Coalition meeting was, number one, that there's a time and a place for these types of things, and then number two, this is why taking them as prescribed is so important, as well as follow up and doing the things that you need to do. It's not a game. It's not something that you can take lightly. It is something that you need to take seriously if you do get on them. But that's the power of them is that's why it's so good as well, is because they do work when used as directed. They work properly, just like anything. You can take anything to the extreme, but that brings me back to why it's so great that you've now got, as Miss Vivian coined him, Dr. B, with you guys, is that you have somebody specifically trained in this area to help manage these things. And I am one of those firm believers that what gets measured gets done. And if you've got somebody who's an expert in this area, as you guys do over there, it's
perfect. It works like it's supposed to. I
yes.
mean, you got these primary care. You got primary care doctors who is, if a patient is coming to see them repeatedly, as they should see their primary care on a regular basis and have a good rapport and relationship with that provider, and they're coming to them with an issue that's not getting better, then they refer them to the expert, which is an expert like Dr. Bayer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's instructions on shampoo bottles and don't eat Tide Pods.
Right.
I mean, you've got, I'm sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I'm like, there's reasons we say the things we say. And like, my son's had, shoulder surgery. I mean, of course, when you have a major surgery or, like I said, traumatic event, and folks that have not had that happen, they are very blessed and fortunate, right?
Yeah.
But there are those folks that have major things go on in their life, and there's no need that they should be punished or suffer, right? But when we go in the hospital and the nurses or the doctors are asking them, what is your pain scale on a scale of 1 to 10? Obviously, if they say a 2, well, then you might get, offered a ibuprofen or Tylenol, right? If you just had, like we were talking about earlier, like a below-the-knee amputation or, half an arm ripped off, you come in there, you're at a 9 or a 10. Obviously, if we offered someone a Tylenol, we're going to get the crazy eye, right? In fact, we may get something thrown at us.
Right.
So there's a time and a place for all things, but it is just knowing who to refer to, and when you have experts like Dr. Bayer that can come in and help manage those things, because it does put the primary care providers kind of in a sticky spot because they are so heavily monitored, right, with the DEA and all the things that measure like how many prescriptions and medications they're writing for.
They track all that stuff.
They track it all. And so these folks in the past that were not complying with those rules may not be doing their job anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that with primary care they want to refer to a professional like Dr. Bayer, so that those sorts of things, number one, root cause analysis, what's causing it, and number two, hand it off to a professional that deals with that on a daily basis. So then that primary care provider has that person to lean on to support for things that may need chronic management.
Yeah. Brett Crabtree jumped in the chat as well. He said, does he do any work with VA-related cases?
That is, yes, we take VA insurance. That is right. And shout out to my friend, Brett. Hey, what's up?
Well, and that, I guess, brings me back to, and you mentioned primary care physicians and other things like that. If somebody is dealing with chronic pain and they're seeing their primary care and this conversation starts coming up about pain management or remedying it somehow, how would they go from and now they've seen Dr. Bear on our station, and they want to go from talking to their primary care physician about their pain management, which their primary care physician may be afraid to touch, to having a conversation with the professional pain management specialist in Dr. Bear. How would they go from point A to point B?
So that's a referral, and that's a lot of what I do is go out and make sure that I inform all of our providers and people probably within a 75-mile radius around our hospital about our providers when we bring them on board. And so, the rack cards, the information for Dr. Bayer, I make sure that they know how to get in touch with his office, fax numbers, all the things. And my number's out there for them to call as well, so that they know how to refer patients over to the clinic. It's an easy process, and the providers, most of them know how to do that. And if they don't, well, then we will make sure that they do. Folks that need Dr. Bayer's office number to have that information sent, I'm glad to give that number. It's 931-962-8012, and that is for the office in case anyone needs, the fax or something because their provider or whoever needs that information. And I will say that we take a lot of insurances out there. I feel like more so than other folks do, so there should have no problems getting in to the clinic. And I know that Dr. Bayer does an excellent job, him and his staff over there, trying to get folks in as quickly as possible, because again, if you're having a lot of pain issues or need a procedure, whether it again be some of these things that he can do in the OR, work his magic, as you will, he tries to get folks in just as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. When somebody is finally making that decision to say, I need to see a professional, or my primary care is sending me somewhere, the last thing they want to hear is it's a 4 or 5 month wait, right?
Right.
So if they finally made that decision, this is what I need to do, they need to get in quickly.
Yeah. Well, especially when he's talking about the fact that a lot of people, it's when it becomes debilitating that they finally make the decision to do something about it. Well, goodness gracious, the Lord knows how long they've been dealing with that pain up until that point. You add another few months to it, that's the last thing that they want to hear. And if you're wondering, yes, you can go to highpointhealthsystem.com, and under the Find a Doctor side of things, I was able to pull him up. He's on like the first page. You scroll halfway down the first page, and boom, there he is. It's got his phone number listed right there as well. So as far as some of the services locally that people might not realize that exist in regard to High Point Health, what are some of the things out there, maybe Dr. Bear, that you do that people don't even realize, oh, wow, he could help me with that you maybe see?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is in sort of the interventional side. People, I hear it all the time throughout my whole career. I didn't know you could do that. We have spine pacemakers. They have pacemakers for the heart. They have pacemakers for the spine.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And patients say to me all
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, see?
Patients say to me all the time, how long has that been out? And I say, well, about the early 60s. And I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, there are certain instances where, we do, it's called neuromodulation, or just as a generic term, a kind of a spine pacemaker. There are sort of minimally invasive ways to fuse the sacroiliac joint. For a lot of different arthritises, we can do joint injections. There are synthetic joint proteins that we can put in an arthritic joint to try and change the inside of the joint to be more normal. There are nerve ablations we can do, again, to interrupt that signal. Like I said, with the bone health of fractured spine, we can go in and put cement in and solidify it so it doesn't collapse.
Right.
That can be helpful with pain and function.
Wow. What are some of the most common things that you see?
Yeah, the most common things are going to be, in the 30 to 50-year-olds who just herniated a disc and they're having back pain shooting down their leg. The bread and butter is, epidural steroid injection. I've had them myself. arthritis, spine arthritis is the other real big one, and there are things like nerve blocks to the joints of the spine that we can do, and actual ablations to the nerves so that that pain signal gets, semi-permanently interrupted.
Right.
That's kind of those are sort of the bread and butter things that we do on a day in and day out basis.
If there's one thing, as we get set to wrap this up, is that if there's one thing that you want people listening this morning to understand about pain and pain management, what would it be?
Well, I would say that opiates aren't necessarily the people come in thinking that opiates are going to be that drug that works on 100% of the people 100% of the time. That's not necessarily the case. And even some people get on the opiates and maybe it helps their pain, but they struggle with constipation, they struggle with the nausea, they struggle with just feeling dopey.
Right.
Sort of these other things, epidurals, ablations, can maybe get you to your goals without you having to take a daily pain medication.
Right.
And maybe you just do a tune-up every 6 months, a year, or whatever.
Yeah, there are other options. There's a lot of different options. I think that's the importance of communication and having a sit down with you. And you mentioned the first thing that you do is ask them about their goals.
Right.
And I think that that's extremely important, regardless of I do that in sales. What are your goals from a marketing standpoint? What are your goals from a pain management standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint? And that's tremendous. Ladies, thank you so much for bringing Dr. Bear in. Is there anything before we hit the top of the hour that you guys want to get out there before we wrap things up?
Really quick, we have our Easter egg hunt this Thursday. So that will be at the hospital on the front lawn. Event starts at 5. The Easter egg hunt starts at 5:15 sharp. So make sure you're there on time because it goes quick. Those kids are ready and very eager.
And that's this Thursday?
This Thursday.
Yes. When is Easter?
Next,
I don't even know.
A week from this upcoming Sunday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's early this year.
So we did, and we like to do our Easter egg hunt a little bit early
Yeah.
so that it doesn't fall during the week of spring break, if people are out of town.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that will be this Thursday. We have a few different age groups, so it's fair to all the different ages and some prizes for each group. So
And what time does it start again?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. The Easter egg hunt starts at 5:15 though,
Okay.
just to give people plenty of time to get there.
Yeah.
Right before it starts.
All right.
And since I have one of my best buds here with me today, Dr. Bear, so I wanted to also remind folks that March 30th is officially Doctor's Day. And so I'm giving my friend a little early whoop whoop shout out.
There you go.
And we do appreciate all of our providers at High Point Health. They make us. I mean, they're here, they're caring, they're supportive, they're professional, they're compassionate. We're very lucky to have each and every one of them. So before I get off
thank
here,
you
I
for
wanted
bringing
to
that up.
see. We're like peanut butter and jelly,
Yeah.
and so we wanted to give our providers a shout out for sure.
I will say this from my perspective, and this isn't just blowing smoke, but what I have really found tremendous is the high level of each of them. The new ones that you're bringing in, and some of the ones that have been with you guys for quite a while. You bring them in, and they're so impressive every time. And Dr. Bear, just add them to the list, the roster of impressive individuals over there, providers over there at High Point. So
They
great
are.
job.
Yeah. We're very proud of them.
Yes.
Thankful for all of them.
Yes.
Chewy, you're not allowed in the Easter egg hunt. So there's not a
There-
Chewy.
Actually, there's a 10 and up age range. So,
So that does cover the rest of it. I mean,
All right.
10 and up, Chewy. Let's go.
So that'll be on Thursday, which means
he
on,
identifies as a
yeah,
12-year-old.
Exactly. It means on Friday, Chewy will be stopping by Dr. Bear's office. to see-
yes.
Yes.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in this morning. To all of you again, Dr. Bear. You can find him over there on highpointhealthsystem.com. Over there at High Point Health with Ascension St. Thomas. For Angie Sowers and Maggie Gibson, I am Joe Abraham. We'll have hour number 2 of the starting lineup coming up next. This is ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
Spring is in the air, and so are fresh new savings at Furniture Merchandise Outlet, FMO, right here in Tullahoma. Ready to refresh your space? From living rooms and bedrooms to dining sets and mattresses, FMO has the styles you want at prices you'll love. No long waits, no sticker shock. Just take it home today. Visit them at 105 North Jackson Street in Tullahoma or browse anytime at FMOTN.com. Furniture Merchandise Outlet, where spring cleaning turns into a spring upgrade.
Why choose More Courtney Funeral Home? Well, they're a fifth-generation funeral home taking care of the people of Franklin County since 1905. They're committed to serving you, dedicated to providing personalized, professional, compassionate service to help lighten your burden and help you out during these difficult times. More Courtney Funeral Home, 300 First Avenue Northwest in Winchester, 967-2222. More Courtney Funeral Home.
Got a project to tackle or a party to plan? Skip the stress and rent it instead at Reliable Rental in Winchester. From tools and heavy-duty machines to chairs, tables, and event essentials, they've got what you need to get the job done right. Whether it's work or a weekend celebration, Reliable Rental makes it easy. Stop by 2433 Deckard Boulevard in Winchester or check out everything they offer online at ReliableRentalFC.com. Reliable Rental. When you need it, they've got it.
When life hits you hard, you need someone who will stand up and fight back for you. Andy Davis, attorney at law, serves Southern Middle Tennessee in personal injury, criminal defense, family law, bankruptcy, and more. Call today to set up your free consultation, where you'll get clear answers, honest guidance, and a plan built around your needs. Online at southerninjurylaw.com. This is an advertisement. Andy Davis, attorney at law, responsible for content. No representation is made that the quality of legal services is greater than that of other lawyers.
Looking to make a difference in Franklin County? The Franklin County Prevention Coalition works every day to build a safer, healthier community, free from substance misuse. Through education, outreach, and strong local partnerships, they empower parents, schools, and leaders to prevent addiction and support positive choices. From youth programs to community events, the coalition is here for you. Learn more or get involved today at fcpctn.org. Together, we prevent.
This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Farmers, gardeners, and homeowners. Franklin Farmers Co-op in Winchester is your one-stop shop. From top quality feed and seed to fencing, equipment, and even pet supplies. We have everything you need to keep your farm or home running smoothly. Our knowledgeable team is here to help you every step of the way. Stop by Franklin Farmers Co-op, conveniently located at 2229 Deckard Boulevard, or give us a call at 931-967-5511. Franklin Farmers Co-op, rooted in your success, growing with your community.
Good morning, Deckard.
Good morning, WTDT.
How are you guys this morning?
We are wonderful. How are you?
I'm living. My March Madness bracket isn't doing perfect, but you know what? To raise my spirits, I'm hoping for a really, really good pledge this morning.
All right, well, we've got second graders from Miss McNeil's class ready to make that happen.
All right, let's hear it.
Good morning, Franklin County. Please join Deckard Elementary as we
stand, salute, and flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Absolutely beautiful pledge this morning. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We had a group of girls this morning. All right, who's got our joke this morning? All right, come on up, girl.
My name's Gianna, and where does a horse go when it's sick?
I don't know.
The hospital.
That's cute. All right. Well, thank you so much, Deckard. Y'all have a wonderful day out there, okay?
Thank you, guys. Y'all too.
See ya. All right. Well, I am here with Rob Courtner this morning. We're missing Joey Ram. He had a he's got some business to take care of, I guess. And that being said, Rob, hey, congratulations. First off, I'm just gonna say that on your bracket, it's looking very, very fine.
Thank you. Still a lot of ball left, though.
There is a lot,
Still
but
a lot of ball left.
As far as the first step, you definitely nailed it. So I got to give you that.
Yeah, that's the best start I've had in a while.
Oh, well.
Probably like 4 or 5 years. So I was tickled with that.
A lot better than Joe Abraham. Everyone seems to be reminding Joe that he's not in first,
Well,
which is.
I wanted to tell him when he texted me, like after like the first like 6-7 games, he was in first. He was like, first place. I wanted to say like, pump the brakes.
Yeah. But he got on air and started.
I saw.
Okay.
I love the clip too.
Hell yeah.
The 3 days later.
I knew it was going to happen, dude. Listen, I made that whole transition from scratch just to bully Joe. Like, but that being said, are you enjoying March Madness so far? Is it going the way you were hoping for?
Yeah. I think it's been as good of a tournament as we've had in a few years. Still no Cinderella stories made the Sweet 16 this year, which was kind of depressing. You always like to see one kind of make a little run, but Texas is an 11 seed, and they did make the Sweet 16. I don't really consider them a Cinderella, though, because, I mean, by seed, you can kind of consider it, but, I mean, Texas is Texas. I mean, they've always been a nice program and a nice history in the tournament, so I don't really consider them a Cinderella. But, yeah, had a few upsets and already a few buzzer beaters already, and it's like me and you talked about before this thing starts. For some reason, these shots, like with 5 or 10 seconds or less, they seem to go in more in this tournament than they seem to in the regular season. It's just March.
Yeah.
That's why it's much watch TV.
That being, I remember we were talking about the Kentucky game. We were all standing around the TV in the station watching it, just like, eyes glued and everything. But Brett says he just doesn't want to face Rob, which is a good point. Very interesting. Vivian Kate jumped in saying, very helpful and informative conversation. Thank you, Vivian. That's so shout out to High Point Health and Maggie and Angie and the crew and Dr. B. Katie says she's going to be posting the Easter events today. Christopher Lambert jumped in saying, sounds like a great doctor. I love that he doesn't just push opioids as a cure for all pain management. Well, thank you, Christopher, for jumping in this morning. So, on the docket this morning, I don't know what you guys had exactly, but I guess we're jumping into more. You brought like a big stack of notes.
Yeah. So Joe always sends me a few things he wants me to go over, and I guess we'll go ahead and jump into that. His big question to me was, which has been a kind of a shock with Aiden Holloway in Alabama getting arrested there, but Alabama's back in the Sweet 16. 4th year in a row that the Tide have made it to the Sweet 16, and he asked me if Alabama got better. I don't think they necessarily got better. I think that with Aiden Holloway getting arrested, we just forgot how good they are.
Oh, okay.
Because Philon had been injured some of the season, and Alabama would continue to stack up wins. I think they're just really, really good, and I think that we just thought this team would just lie down when Holloway got arrested, and they didn't. And Philon picked up the load, Wrightsville picked up the load, and Amari Allen, they are so good offensively, they got a puncher's chance against anybody.
Really?
And what gets me about this Alabama team is their on-ball guarding. They get better defensively every time I see them, and that's really not an identity of a Nate Oates team. But this team has really rallied around their defense. Really dating back to me, I really started noticing it when they went to Knoxville and played. I guess that was late February. They just made Jacoby Gillespie uncomfortable all night, and they've continued to kind of keep that mentality on defense. And that to me, you can talk about the 19 threes that they had against Texas Tech, but how about holding Texas Tech to 34% from the floor? How about out-rebounding Texas Tech by 12? Those are the things that I was more impressed with Alabama and Nate Oates than I was seeing the 19 threes against Texas Tech.
Interesting. I noticed Landon had like the Vols to win the whole thing and everything like that, and I was curious as to
I hope Landon's right.
Yeah. That's so I don't know. I was curious as to where a lot of these classic SEC teams sort of land because. I picked Vanderbilt because I just wanted Vanderbilt to win.
Another late shot that just, that one for Vanderbilt actually didn't go in, but usually that shot goes in there that last second, but just didn't go in.
That one hurt. Not as much as the Kentucky St. Mary's game, but that one hurt.
Yeah.
I think that what frustrates me when talking about those close games is seems like, and I know that this isn't true, but it seems like they always go the other way. Those are just the ones that are always.
It's always the
memorable.
opposite of what you picked.
Yeah. Now, that all being said, and I know that you guys have kind of already talked about it, it is kind of ironic that the drug dealer gets busted and Alabama gets better. But what do you think? You said they've got a puncher's chance against anybody. What do you think the real, between Alabama and Tennessee right now, what do you think the real possibilities are for those teams? And really throw in Arkansas as well. Let's look at the SEC as a whole. Maybe which team out of those three has the best chance?
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in Texas too because
Texas. I always forget. Texas is still there.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be there.
And actually, matchup-wise, if I was going to bet on an SEC team to win to get to the Elite Eight, I think I'm going to bet Texas over Purdue more than any of the three. I just really like the matchup, the way that Texas has been playing. And Purdue, man, they're just so streaky. And they've kind of sleptwalked through the Miami game. I feel like Purdue's playing their best ball of the year, which is a good thing. And Braden Smith, they're senior-led. They got everything you want to see. But I just think we're going to see that old Purdue that we saw in the season at some point.
Right.
And Sean Miller has done a great job of getting Texas to where they're at. Like I said, I think they're playing as good as anybody in the country. And they've played 3 games. Vitegas, their big man, he can't make a free throw.
No, not to save his life.
He can make everything around it.
Right.
I think he's been one of the most underrated players of the tournament so far. I think as far as getting to the Elite Eight, that's my pick right now is the best chance. The best chance to make a deep run, I think it's Tennessee. The reason I say Tennessee over Alabama is I think that it's probably more likely we see Nate Ament hit that other gear that we saw than it is. I think eventually it's going to catch up that Holloway's not with Alabama.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that Alabama, to me, is honestly the biggest surprise. Again, joined by Rob Kortner this morning here on the starting lineup, which, if people don't know, and a lot of people do, they've jumped into the chat. Katie says she loves the level of my frustration. Cindy says, hey, Rob, just joining in, Joe, and I wanted to, just joining in, Joe, and I wanted to thank for all the bracket hints and help, but Joe is in 25th is great. Rob says he doesn't want to face Rob, or Brett says he doesn't want to face Rob. Everybody's giving me a hard time, but here's what I would like to point out. Rob is my guy, okay? So while I'm not responsible for Rob being an expert, he puts in so much time and effort and work on his own, and there's a reason why I bring him in. It's my show and Chewy's show, and we bring Rob in, so we are responsible for Rob. So technically, even though Chewy is at 0% in his chance to win, his forecasted chance to win, he's got 0% chance to win. I have 4.3%, okay? And I would like to combine that with Rob's 6.9% chance to win, meaning that the show has a combined 11.2% chance to win, which would make us the favorite. And
there we go.
I'm saying that...
Can't argue with the numbers.
Yeah. Just like all these people that want to give me a hard time, I had to pick some games different than Rob. He and I couldn't be the same on every one. But ironically, Rob, all joking aside, you and I had very similar brackets in a lot of different ways. We had some of the very similar upsets and things like that. In the long run, you're a much better forecaster and picker, and that's why you're ahead of me. But there were some games early on that you picked and that I picked that didn't really surprise us that they went the way that they did. There were some teams, Texas being one of them in the first round, there were some teams that showed up and showed out that weren't really a surprise. Are there any that come to mind to you that won that first round game where you picked up some points on some people and you kind of looking back on it, you felt like, yeah, I had one up on them. They didn't realize what I did. Are there any that come to mind?
Yeah, Texas, obviously, we both had that one. But I feel like one area that I really picked up a lot of points is I hit all the 8-9 games.
Yeah.
And those are usually some of the hardest to pick.
Those are the hardest to pick.
I really saw the St. Louis one coming that I feel like I didn't see them blowing them out by like 30 or 40 or something, but I did see them winning because I've seen that Georgia team play so much this year, and while I love their guards, I mean, when Tennessee played down there, Georgia was the better team. It's just that Tennessee had better post players. And I saw St. Louis play a couple times this season, and Robbie Goggles is what I call him.
I'm sorry.
Robbie Olivier down there. I just didn't think Georgia would have an answer for him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they didn't. But that's one game particularly. Georgia was a hot pick. And I even saw some brackets even had Georgia upsetting Michigan, which I do think matchup wise they would have had a better chance of beating Michigan than they did St. Louis.
Yeah. I will say I think that the game that surprised a lot of people the most was that Wisconsin High Point game. You know, in the long run, I don't think that, you know, a lot of people expected a High Point team after they defeated Wisconsin to make it too far. But there were people who had Wisconsin over like even Arkansas all the way up into the Sweet 16, and they go out in the first round. Is there anything in particular in regard to that game that you saw from Wisconsin that kind of surprised you, or you know, any reason that leads you to understand why they got knocked out in that first game, or was it just a bad day, you think?
I think it was kind of the game that we thought it was going to be going in. I mean, High Point can put up points in a hurry, and we saw that against Arizona too. It's just that Wisconsin was kind of on the wrong side of it. Wisconsin, we saw them look really good in the Big Ten tournament. They beat Illinois in overtime in that thing, and they lost on a buzzer beater to Michigan. So, like, they were a really hot pick for a lot of people, and I thought they would get past High Point. But I did think that High Point would be able to score points on them. They have all year. So I wasn't too shocked on that one, especially since it was a one-point game and went right down to the wire. I was shocked that Arkansas defensively – I thought Arkansas was a lot better than Wisconsin defensively, and the fact that they allowed High Point to score 88 on them, I really kind of have no hope for them moving forward against Arizona.
Yeah.
I just think Arizona will dismantle them. I mean, Arizona's been on cruise control, and they still beat a really nice Utah State team by 12. Even I think they went like 5 minutes without scoring,
right,
and still won that game by 12. And Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley, the duo, I think has like 68 or 70 points through 2 games. So their guard play has been exceptional. But yeah, that High Point team, really nice team. They were probably the best chance for a Cinderella team.
Right.
I still think if Santa Clara would have got past Kentucky, they had a good chance, especially since Joshua Jefferson got hurt for Iowa State. If they would have just made it past Kentucky, I think they might have had a chance against Iowa State.
That Santa Clara Kentucky game is like haunting me. And then I had St. Mary's and over Texas A&M on the other side of the bracket. But those two were kind of my upset picks there in the first round. Those 10-7, or actually, I guess St. Mary's was the 7 seed over the 10 seed Texas A&M. But it's frustrating when you've got a team where you're like, oh, man, I'm going to pick up some points here, and then at the last second they pull it out. But in regard to the Santa Clara game, you text me afterwards, and you kind of made me feel a little bit better, made me feel a little bit justified. And in that there were a few missed calls late in that game. Santa Clara didn't get the timeout that they wanted. Kentucky had a thing with the possession. It was just a frustrating end. But when you hit a shot like that, and we see this so many times, a team will hit the shot at the end of the game to send it to overtime, and it just completely deflates the other team. And that's exactly what happened to Santa Clara. It felt like, and you could see it in their body language.
It felt like they lost on that shot.
On that shot.
You could tell by their body language more than it was going to overtime. I mean, because they had done so much. And Kentucky, like, played really good that game. It's not that they played bad. Like, Santa Clara's pretty good. And,
right. Yeah, no, they are.
And Kentucky would go on runs, and Santa Clara would go down there and hit a 3 and get right back in it. So, like, to me, it was like Santa Clara, like you said, they gave all they had, and then that shot, like half-court shot, still goes in there. Like, you know, I mean, they pretty much felt like they lost.
Now, a trap that Florida fell into, I think, looking at that Prairie View game, and this is one of my fears all the time for higher seeds, 1 and 2 seeds that completely dominate in the first round, is they play a level of competition that just doesn't really match up. and then they quickly have to take on a team. For example, and we mentioned this, the 8-9 games are, in a lot of cases, very highly contested games. They're very competitive games. And it's against still a pretty high level of competition, much higher than a 16 seed at times. And what it felt like going into that Iowa game, we've seen this from Florida at times this year, but it felt like the level of play kind of caught them off guard, and it disrupted the success. It came so easy for them against Prairie View, right? And Iowa just played nasty, and it just disrupted Florida's kind of rhythm throughout the game. And Florida, the defending champion, gets knocked out. Daniel's absolutely devastated, by the way. He's been coming in just crying on my shoulder the last couple days. But in that Florida-Iowa game, what did you see from Iowa? What did you see from Florida?
Well, Florida's guard play that I feared coming into the season, it finally caught up with them. Boogie Flan looked more like the Boogie Flan we saw at Arkansas, 0-3 from 3. Xavion Lee did have 17, but down there late, he showed that inexperience to me, like when he tried to drive it down there late with they have 3 or 4 seconds and then tried to make a pass.
Right.
You got to go up with the ball there, man. I mean, you've only got 4 seconds. You got to go. They just didn't have the guard play to make the run that we saw last year. Walter Clayton Jr. is very hard to replace, and granted, they for Todd Golden at points this year, I thought he had developed Boogie Flan and Xavion Lee into those guys when they went on that stretch where they won 13 or 14 conference games.
Yeah.
I thought we had seen them turn the corner.
Right. And that's what happened to Florida last year. They hit that mark, and it was like they became in the second half of the season. It was like they became unstoppable.
Yeah.
And we thought right up until, and you saw hints of it, which is why I think you and I both had
the Vandy game showed the chinks in the armor.
Yeah,
for sure.
we both kind of had Florida. I think. Where did you have Florida? You had Florida getting knocked out fairly early too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I had.
I think I had them getting knocked out in the Sweet 16.
I had them getting to the Elite 8. I had Houston over Florida.
So I actually had Vandy over Florida in the Sweet 16. But both of us, regardless, had them going out a lot earlier than would be expected, maybe for a 1 seed, Yeah. And you said it, that there were those holes in the armor that came up, and you realized, ooh, they're vulnerable. Now on the flip side, Iowa moves on, and they take on Nebraska. It's like the Midwest Bowl right here. But both of these teams kind of surprised to be there. Nebraska had never, which blew me away, that Nebraska had never won a tournament game up until their win in the first round over Troy. And then
they're on the verge of the Elite 8.
Yeah, and then they get past Vanderbilt, which I was feeling so good about my Vanderbilt pick. And I would be even feeling even better now that Florida got knocked out, because I think that they would have gotten past Nebraska. That game hurt me really bad. But that being said, Iowa and Nebraska facing off here as well. A little bit surprised that both of those teams are there. From what you've seen from both of those teams before we hit the break, who are you kind of leaning into? Who do you feel is going to come out of that game to take on? I'm expecting Illinois. I expect you have Houston on the other side of that.
Yeah, and I do think the winner of the Illinois-Houston will dismantle both of these teams.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's going to go right down to the wire with Nebraska and Iowa. And I know Iowa has a kind of a name brand, but I do think Iowa is kind of our mid-major left here because of what they have. Ben McCullum, head coach of Drake, first year at Iowa, he brought in Bennett Sturts with him that also played for him at Drake. So they got that kind of mid-major base there. Did really good in the portal, and in first season turning that program around, he's really done a good job. So you got to watch Sturts, because he can get hot and put up 30 on you in a hurry. But Nebraska, top to bottom, to me, they were just better than Vanderbilt, and that they outlasted Vanderbilt. And that's been the game of the tournament so far, in my opinion. Both teams deserve to win that game. It's just, particularly down low, I thought Nebraska had more of a better matchup, particularly going against Jalen Washington. Down low, Jalen Washington only had 6 points for Vanderbilt. Todd Tyler Tanner and Miles and Nickel really had to carry the load for them all game just to keep them in it. And Nebraska's just so well balanced. I've got Nebraska. I'm leaning that way here. I think we forgot how good Nebraska was, and I think we got caught up in just saying they've never won a tournament game,
right?
Just assuming that Vanderbilt would win that game. Nebraska at one point had the longest winning streak in the country to start the season. I think they'd won like 17 or 18 games in a row there to start. So Nebraska is a very well capable team, and I look for them to edge out Iowa.
When we come back, we got a couple of more questions for Rob, including we're going to have him re-rank the top 5 teams remaining based on how they've played to this point this past weekend. We'll talk about the North Carolina coaching situation and what can Tennessee fans realistically hope for based on how they have been playing. And that upset win over Virginia, a lot of folks excited about what the possibility could be, but they've got a really good Iowa State team in front of them. So we'll get Rob's opinion on where Tennessee sits right now, all when we come back. It is the starting lineup fueled by Loco Coffee here on ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.
From the 931 Go Weather Center, it's time for an ESPN Radio Winchester weather update, presented by Bennett's Pharmacy.
Starting off our morning a little bit cloudy and then gradually clearing up to a high of 70 degrees today. Got some calm winds as well coming in from the east-southeast at around 5 miles per hour. Get out there and enjoy some of this beautiful weather while you enjoy ESPN Radio Winchester 1340 1069 for all of your wonderful weather updates.
At Bennett's Pharmacy in Winchester, we're more than a pharmacy. We're your partner in health. Conveniently located at 1201 Dinah Shore Boulevard, we're here to serve you with fast, friendly, and personalized service. Need prescriptions filled? Looking for over-the-counter products? We've got you covered. Plus, enjoy local delivery and expert advice from our caring team. Call us today at 931-967-2777 or stop by Bennett's Pharmacy at 1201 Dinah Shore Boulevard today.
Why choose More Courtney Funeral Home? Well, they're a 5th-generation funeral home taking care of the people of Franklin County since 1905. They're committed to serving you, dedicated to providing personalized, professional, and compassionate service to help lighten your burden and help you out during these difficult times. More Courtney Funeral Home, 300 First Avenue Northwest in Winchester, 967-2222. More Courtney Funeral Home.
When life hits you hard, you need someone who will stand up and fight back for you. Andy Davis, attorney at law, serves Southern Middle Tennessee in personal injury, criminal defense, family law, bankruptcy, and more. Call today to set up your free consultation, where you'll get clear answers, honest guidance, and a plan built around your needs. Online at southerninjurylaw.com. This is an advertisement. Andy Davis, attorney at law, responsible for content. No representation is made that the quality of legal services is greater than that of other lawyers.
The future of healthcare starts here. The Southern Tennessee Regional Health System, Winchester and Suwannee, are joining the High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas, a health network serving communities across the state. We're working together to expand access, improve clinical quality, and keep you close to home throughout your care journey. Your favorite providers aren't going anywhere. It's the same care you know and trust, now with a new name. High Point Health with Ascension St. Thomas. Learn more at highpointhealthsystem.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend.
Looking for a reliable car at an affordable price? Stop by Money Down Motors here in Deckard. We specialize in quality pre-owned vehicles with low down payments and flexible financing options. No matter your credit history, drive away today with a car you'll love and a payment plan that works for you. Visit us at 1945 Deckard Boulevard or call 931-962-3404 for more info. At Money Down Motors, LLC, your ride is waiting.
back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340, 1069 WCDT Winchester. We're talking about some grass, and actually what it turned into, of course, was golf in the break.
We're not talking about Aiden Holloway's grass, by the way, too.
No, different grass. Different grass.
I just got that.
Yeah. But yeah, it will become that time where we will start talking a lot more golf because the temperature is warming up.
Speaking of golf, Tiger Woods, TGL, making a comeback tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. Is there any level of expectation for him?
I think he saw Kevin Kisner choke last night and said, I can't do any worse. So
I think at this point, and what we've heard before we get back into the March Madness talk, what we've heard from a lot of people is Tiger just needs to retire. He needs to retire. He needs to retire. And here's my perspective on it. And there are some guys where they do get to that point where I'm like, yeah, it's probably better for them and for the game if they step away and we can remember them as they were, not as they currently are. But here's the thing. Tiger is so head and shoulders above. It's kind of like when Michael Jordan was playing for the Wizards and things. You know that you're witnessing greatness. You don't tell that guy to retire. You just sit there and you watch him shoot his 41 or whatever he's going to shoot, and you just enjoy and just take it in. Because when he's gone, and he's not coming back. So all these people who want him to retire think he needs to retire because he's not playing like the Tiger who's, winning tournament after tournament. They just need to pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, and they need to understand that he's 50 years old now.
Yeah.
I mean,
just appreciate him for what he is.
Everybody gets old.
And I came across one of those reels popped up on my thing the other day. I want to do a whole segment or two on how great Tiger was at his peak and stuff, because there was it was all of these insane Tiger Woods stats, and one of them that came up is like after 36 holes or however many holes, the average golfer wins like 30 or 40, 35% of the tournaments or 40% of the tournaments or something like that. And Tiger was like 95%. He
wasn't giving up leads.
No, it was stats like that popped up. And so I mean, he's, and I get it. There are other guys who have won more tournaments, but I put him in that classification like a Jordan. They changed the game. They changed the sport, so to speak. And there are certain guys, I think that Jim Brown is one of those guys who kind of did it in the NFL. There are certain guys that come along. Babe Ruth did it in baseball, which was originally why he was so different. He was so head and shoulders, and he changed the game. Tiger Woods changed golf, and he will forever be that guy that changed golf. He made it cool. He made it popular. He made it, Nike started making gear. All of these things, it's about more than just how he played on the course. And
even at 50, he's still moving the needle.
He's still.
Like the TGL thing.
The whole TGL thing.
The TGL thing would not have worked without Tiger Woods.
Right.
As cool as it is.
Yeah.
So Casey Sells jumped in. They said, go Big Red. And then Brett Crabtree said, unfortunately, he thinks that the Vols is toast against Iowa State.
Well, hold on, because nobody asked you. We're going to ask the expert. Okay? Listen, nobody asked me either. Who we're going to ask is the guy who's sitting in first place, and he's the boss. So I refer to you, master of the March Madness. What are the possibilities here? What's the best you think that Tennessee fans can hope for? Or twist on that question, have they already exceeded it?
Well, and when you asked me last night, you used the word realistically. So
yeah.
That's where I'm going to try to stay realistically. I think realistically they have accomplished about all that you could realistically hope for, and I think they've hit most people's ceiling. Most people that watch this team, that they would be tickled with the Sweet 16. And I'm tickled with the Sweet 16, but I do want to hit on that too before I answer the question. This is the fourth consecutive Sweet 16 Tennessee's made, and on the verge of a third Elite Eight in a row. It's pretty dang good for a coach that can't win in March.
Yeah.
Rick Barnes catches a lot of flyers because he's only been to one Final Four. I think I get agitated about that. It's not the one Final Four. I get agitated that he hadn't won a national championship. As good a teams as he's had. But it just shows how tough it is to win in this tournament. I mean, Florida, number 1 seed, defending national champ, get beat by Iowa on a last-second shot.
Yeah. It's not easy.
And these shots go in more in March than they do any time in the regular season.
Seems like that, right?
It just, I don't know. Maybe it's
the magic. March Magic.
Maybe it's the more inflated balls. I don't know.
Sure.
I've seen guys complain about that. But yeah, back to Tennessee. I think realistically, to get past Iowa State, you're going to have to see Nate Ament hit the stride that we saw him hit midseason. Unfortunately, I don't think he's healthy all the way. I think you can tell by his body language. But I respect the heck out of him because emotionally I can tell that he's a competitor, and I think most high-profile five-star freshmen would have already shut it down and prepared for the NBA draft. So I give a lot of props to Nate for still coming out there. And look, I mean, he still had 13, 14 points against Virginia. One good thing about Nate, even when the shot's not going down, he's able to get to the free throw line.
Right.
And I think that's something to be said for just an IQ level of guys. You can't really teach that. You just kind of have to have a knack to get to the foul line, and Nate can continue to do that. And if the shot can start falling for Nate Ament, Tennessee for sure has a chance against Iowa State.
Yeah, that ceiling definitely rises depending on where he's at.
One thing that scares me about the shooting, though, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to get this stat in for the shooting. I don't think you can plan on Gillespie continuing to shoot the ball at the percentage he's shooting at. He's been off the charts. He's shooting 22% better right now than he did in the regular season. You can't keep asking him to do that. Eventually, somebody else is going to have to step up.
Well, but to that point and it's kind of ironic because with where Ament is at and how Gillespie has stepped up, not that Ament hasn't been playing well for what he's dealing with, but the production level, I think that the production necessarily hasn't changed from a totality standpoint. It's just shifted weight from Ament to Gillespie a little bit. There have been a little bit more pressure put on him, and Gillespie has stepped up, and he has been the difference in a lot of ways. The way that he is shooting has been absolutely insane, like you said. All that said, like I was just trying to make the point is that I feel like this is the level that they've shown that they can play at, right? Yeah. At certain points throughout the season, they've shown that they can compete with anybody on the floor. It's just a consistency factor, and it always scares me when you go from the first weekend to the second weekend, in that you're coming off, okay, we won some games, and they get some rest, but it's like taking a break when you're feeling it, when you've got the momentum. And a lot of times you'll have teams who have built up that momentum, and then they come out in the second weekend and they come out flat, and all that momentum goes away. You said Gillespie's been shooting hot. I would not be surprised if that number drops back down to reality.
Yeah.
Or even worse.
I don't think Tennessee can plan on him continuing to shoot the ball at the rate he's been doing, just because we've got the sample size in the season.
Yeah.
And so you kind of got to rely on that. Two things that won that Virginia game was you got 13 out of Bishop Boswell. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
No.
And then Jalen Carey, who I thought would anytime Jalen Carey faces a team that's kind of bigger like Virginia, he can't function. He got you 11 points.
Yeah.
And almost had a double-double with the rebounds. Those are the little things here and there that we're going to have to see guys step up for Tennessee. J.P. Estrella, I think he's only missed 4 shots the entire tournament. He's played really well for Tennessee down low. If he can continue to be consistent down low, as I mentioned earlier, right now, as of this morning, Joshua Jefferson is likely not to play. They said he's possible he could play for Iowa State, but that's going to be a big loss for them down low because Tennessee's got depth, all right? They got J.P., Okpara, Carey. They get guys that can go in there and battle. So even if a guy was getting foul trouble, Estrella played, 4 minutes of the first half in Virginia? Tennessee still won a ball game. That's the depth down low that's going to create problems for teams, and especially a team like Iowa State if their best big is gone.
Yeah, certainly. The big concern, if you're both a Tennessee and an Alabama fan, is, again, how much better they've been playing in certain areas. you worry about that pendulum swinging back the other way,
Yeah.
right? And a guy shooting 22% over, is he going to shoot 22% under now this week?
And one reason why I think the SEC has excelled in some areas they have this year, particularly Texas being 11 seed, is the physicality and the toughness they play with. In Tennessee and Alabama's matchup, you're playing teams that are going to equal that physicality and that defense that we see. So it's not going to be as big of a deal, I think, in Tennessee and Alabama's matchup, as I think that's why I mentioned earlier, Texas against Purdue, I think, has more of a chance of having an edge on the physicality and the defense than Alabama does against Michigan and Tennessee against Iowa State.
So one of the conversations that we have had come up here in the last, 24, 48 hours is whether or not North Carolina is going to fire their head coach. Hubert Davis, the talk flying around cannot be avoided. What do you see playing out there? Do you think that his time has run up there, or do you think he's safe for now?
Well, I saw his coach's show last night got postponed, so that's probably not a good sign. Starting out there. But I would caution UNC to kind of get out of the way and not do what Kentucky did with their coaching opening. One difference is I think that made the Kentucky job less attractive is they ran out a Hall of Fame coach. You're not doing that with Hubert Davis.
Yeah.
I think that's why Kentucky had so many guys turn it down. But I think it's time to get out of the Roy Williams coaching tree and go get an outsider. Kentucky's kind of made that mistake getting Mark Pope, bringing in one of their own, and now they've turned on him.
Yeah.
So I think Hubert and Pope are kind of comparable. They're both really good coaches and capable. I mean, people forget North Carolina was the national champions runner-up in 2022, but they did it as a lower seed, and it wasn't as expected, so people kind of don't really count that as much for some reason. But Hubert and Pope continue to lose games that they should win, but then they'll sneak up and win games that they shouldn't.
Right.
So it's kind of just like a weird dynamic with them. But we know North Carolina's got money. I mean, they're spending $10 million a year on a washed-up Bill Belichick. So I know that they've got the money, and to get this fixed in basketball for sure is going to trump decisions in football. The question is who you go get.
Right.
If you do fire him, who you go get. And I think the Twitter and all the fan pages are saying, and I'm already throwing out Bruce Pearl and Jay Wright. Like, let's get those guys aren't coming back, so we're not even talking about those guys. But the two I see most is Nate Oates and Todd Golden. I'm not sure North Carolina, with the historical, one of the best programs of all time, do you go get two guys with a history? And with a history, I say Nate Oates. He's had the gun charges that ended up like in a murder case a couple years ago with Brandon Miller, allowing him to play. Just this season, you had the Bediako fiasco on getting him to play, and then you have Aiden Holloway get arrested.
Right.
So Nate Oates kind of has had drama follow him in his days at Alabama. And whether it's fair to paint him with that brush or not, I don't know, but there's been some red flags down there. And then you got Todd Golden, who for one's won a national championship at Florida. I don't think he's going to leave anyway, but just say he wanted to. He's had the deal last year with the sexual assault allegations and the stalking allegations that just suddenly disappeared after Florida started winning last year. Nobody else talked about him. I don't know whatever happened to him, but that's another thing that you got kind of in your back pocket with Todd Golden. And other than the national championship, Todd Golden, I was looking at his stats in March. He's only won one game as a coach in March, other than that national championship stretch.
Right.
So
well, and you could say too that you could argue that based on their seeding and all the things that they underperformed in March this year.
Yeah. So I know he's got a national championship ring and all, but I'm not sure he's as good of a. I hate to say it this way. I'm not sure if he's a good enough coach that they would want, because I just haven't seen enough. I mean, he's only been at Florida for 3 years. So that leads me to a few other guys. Scott Drew at Baylor. He turned down Kentucky a couple years ago. I think it's because the national championship in 2021 was still fresh in his mind. The NIL era hadn't really fully taken off to what it is now. Over the last 2 years at Baylor, he's 36-31. You got to think if he's going to leave, now would be a great time to get out of there and say, hey, look, Baylor, I'm sorry, but we're just not there in the NIL and the resources. I'm going to, jump ship and go to Carolina. I think this would be a really good time for Carolina to call him because I think there's a serious chance he would go. If you don't get Scott Drew, I think you turn to a Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, who I think some fans would kind of say is an underwhelming hire, but I think people that actually watch basketball, and Carolina fans do, would be super excited about Mark Byington. In 2 years, to change that Vanderbilt program to where they were, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
To what he's done. And then you got T.J. Olsenberger at Iowa State. That's another one that's kind of underperformed in March. I hate to say that this Tennessee game and maybe the game after is kind of like a job interview for him, but I think he's going to have to make Elite Eight, Final Four for them to give him a really serious look just because he hasn't had the success in March. But he's done a really good job overall with Iowa State. But those are just a few names that I noted to be on the watch for.
Well, in your North Carolina, so too, measuring where North Carolina is from the standpoint of not necessarily like blue bloods versus more, in today's NIL landscape, like Dan Hurley of UConn, you mentioned Todd Golden, you mentioned Nate Oates and things like that. Like, where does North Carolina stack compared to some of these schools nowadays?
That's the thing. I was talking to somebody about that yesterday because, like, we even talked about Kentucky because it could potentially open up next year. And, Kentucky had such a hard time. I don't want to say hard time because Mark Pope wasn't a terrible hire. It's looking like it, but at the time it wasn't terrible because he was one of their own. But they had a hard time of getting the home run hire guys that we thought would be interested in that job. So why? Because Kentucky's the winningest program of all time.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, I think, is second or third. Kansas might be second or third. I think Carolina actually is second. But anyway, they've won national championships over multiple decades. Why would they have a hard time hiring a coach? I think it's because NIL has kind of changed what you think about these dream jobs. Everybody's got nice buildings now.
Yeah.
That's not like a huge draw. Like, everybody's got the money to do that now. It's how much are you invested in the program.
Yeah.
And not saying these schools aren't, but if they're at a school, like, say, Bruce Pearl at Auburn, for example, Auburn was invested in that basketball program. The expectations aren't just stupid high. Why would you leave where you're at? Like, if he was still coaching, he'd been to 2 Final Fours there. Yeah, 20 years ago, it'd be a no-brainer to go to a Kentucky or an Auburn. But nowadays, like Nate Oates, why would you go anywhere?
Well, to me, it goes back to the level of expectations hasn't lowered at these blue blood schools, right? But the level of competition has raised across the board, meaning that the challenges to succeed have raised, right? It's harder to just kind of go out and dominate. If you're on the recruiting trail and you're Duke or North Carolina, or one of these other Kansas, you have to compete with. The money is still the same, whether they're spending it at Alabama or whether they're spending it at North Carolina. So it's kind of like, okay, if you wanted to go eat at a Mexican restaurant, and say you got Taco Bell in one hand and you got some real high-end Mexican restaurant in the other hand, and you're going to pay $5 to go to Taco Bell, and you're going to pay $25 to go to the really nice Mexican restaurant. Well, that really nice Mexican restaurant better be really nice because you're paying that much more. If the food is about even, but you're paying 5 times the amount, are you going to go there or are you going to go to Taco Bell? No, you're going to go to Taco Bell. The pressure to succeed at some of these, and we've seen this in college football as well, it's not the juice ain't worth the squeeze to go to that place. Yeah, it looks really nice on the resume, and yeah, I got the Alabama Crimson A, or I'm wearing a Tar Heel blue, or whatever the case. But when you talk about that level of expectations and the constant pressure that's on you, it's my heart don't need that stress,
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of these guys are coming from.
And they know that their time. Any job like that, and Calipari always summed up the Kentucky job the best. He said, my time here is limited. And he knew there would be – that's not a job you retire from. Like, eventually, as good as he was, they're going to run you out of town.
Yeah.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, if you're getting good Mexican food where you're at for a good value, then why go? And those
He's shaking his head. He's like, I ain't going to Taco Bell.
I'm not a Taco Bell fan either. But like for example, like on the recruiting show you mentioned, so Texas, Duke, not Texas, sorry, I'm thinking football, but Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, these schools used to really poke out and always have the best classes of anybody. Well, BYU says, okay, we're going to go all in on the number 1 overall player in the country, and A.J. Dyson-Banya, and pay him $7 million a year. That's going to be our team.
Yep.
You know, that's just a totally different dynamic than you had 20 years ago when all these guys would say, no, I'm going to play for Coach K, or I'm going to play for Coach Cal at Kentucky, just like they would take almost a pay cut. If you will, to go to these places. They're not doing that nowadays. And Duke, to me, right now in college basketball is the only job I think any coach at any time, at any place would listen to. Just because, and I know I'm not saying ESPN's biased, but they get so much more media attention than any other basketball program.
Right.
I think that's the best job in basketball right now. And Carolina has fallen so far behind them. I know they're rivals, but and Carolina beat them on a buzzer beater. But I'm just talking about as far as attention and like the ACC as a whole. If it wasn't for Duke, the ACC right now would be non-existent.
Yeah, you don't need to say that ESPN is a bias, but I will. I mean, they friggin' love Duke. They love the Boston Red Sox. I mean, it just is what it is. All right, let's get a quick break in here. We'll wrap it up when we come back. I am going to give my opinion on the best coach in college basketball when we come back. And ironically, he's not a guy that we even mentioned for the job if it does come available. But there is a guy out there who continues to just outperform all of the others. And I'll tell you who he is when we come back. It is the starting lineup with Rob Kortner in studio, fueled by Loco Coffee on ESPN Radio 1340, 106.9 WCDT Winchester.
Spring is in the air, and so are fresh new savings at Furniture Merchandise Outlet, FMO, right here in Tullahoma. Ready to refresh your space? From living rooms and bedrooms to dining sets and mattresses, FMO has the styles you want at prices you'll love. No long waits, no sticker shock. Just take it home today. Visit them at 105 North Jackson Street in Tullahoma or browse anytime at FMOTN.com. Furniture Merchandise Outlet, where spring cleaning turns into a spring upgrade.
Hey neighbors, this is Johnny Hand from the Afternoon Handoff on ESPN Radio Winchester. And I just want to say thank you. It's only been a couple of months since we debuted my show, and you have been so supportive and so gracious to tune in every single weekday from 2 to 4, whether you're in the car, at work, at home, or streaming us wherever you may be. And a special thank you, of course, to the incredible guests who join me on the show. Those are huge reasons that this program is as fun and as engaging as it is. To our listeners and to our guests alike, thank you for helping make the Afternoon Handoff something special. And keep listening. ESPN Radio 1340, 106.9 WCDT, Winchester.
It's time for a local news break from the 931 Go News Center.
Franklin County residents are invited to gather for the America 250 and the Tennessee 250 celebration, along with the National Day of Prayer on Thursday, May 7th, 2026. The event will take place from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Franklin County Annex, located at the old high school football field. The National Day of Prayer ceremony is scheduled for 6 p.m. on the field, offering the community an opportunity to unite in prayer for the nation, local leaders, and families across Franklin County. The evening will also feature food trucks, barbecue, popcorn, drinks, and a kid zone with activities and entertainment for children. Mayor Chris Guest has discussed the event on ESPN Radio Winchester and emphasized the importance of community involvement. Organizers are encouraging local businesses, churches, and civic groups to participate. Those interested can contact the Franklin County Mayor's office for more information. In public safety news, surrounding law enforcement agencies are warning residents about a new scam circulating via text message. The scam involves an official-looking court notice claiming to be from Davidson County and demanding payment to avoid fines or penalties. Authorities stress that the messages are fake. Residents are urged not to click the links, scan QR codes, or send money. Suspicious messages can be reported to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. In sports, the Franklin County Rebels fell to Coffee County 7-2 in the final game of the Rebel Wildcat Classic, snapping a 6-game winning streak. The Rebels now sit at 7-3 and will host Marshall County Monday night at 6 p.m. The Rebelettes dropped 2 games at the Wildcat Classic, falling to Alcoa and East Hamilton. They now stand at 6 and 8 and will travel to Siegel Monday for a 6:30 p.m. first pitch. For more local news and sports updates, visit 931go.com. Stay informed and stay connected to your community with ESPN Radio Winchester.
When it comes to caring for your loved ones, choose a name you can trust. Inhabit Home Health in Winchester, located at 2068 Cowan Highway. We're here to provide compassionate professional care right in the comfort of your own home. From skilled nursing to therapy services, our team is dedicated to helping you or your loved ones achieve the best quality of life. Call Inhabit Home Health today at 931-967-0633 to learn more about our personalized care plans.
The future of healthcare starts here. The Southern Tennessee Regional Health System, Winchester and Suwannee, are joining the High Point Health System with Ascension St. Thomas, a health network serving communities across the state. We're working together to expand access, improve clinical quality, and keep you close to home throughout your care journey. Your favorite providers aren't going anywhere. It's the same care you know and trust, now with a new name. High Point Health with Ascension St. Thomas. Learn more at highpointhealthsystem.com.
Looking to make a difference in Franklin County? The Franklin County Prevention Coalition works every day to build a safer, healthier community, free from substance misuse. Through education, outreach, and strong local partnerships, they empower parents, schools, and leaders to prevent addiction and support positive choices. From youth programs to community events, the coalition is here for you. Learn more or get involved today at fcpctn.org. Together, we prevent.
This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
We apologize if this is your first time, but yes, unfortunately, this is normal. You're listening to the starting lineup on ESPN Radio 1340-1069, WCDT Winchester.
Back here on the starting lineup, ESPN Radio 1340-1069, WCDT Winchester. Rob Kortner in studio with us, and we were just talking about coaches and who might be the next coach at North Carolina if they do decide to move on. And there's one coach, Rob, in college basketball who continues. Doesn't matter how much he goes through, how many embarrassing moments he has, how many places he gets run out of, but man, Rick Pitino is just such a freaking good basketball coach. The other stuff is his personal life, all the other things, whatever. Might be a mess. I don't care. The guy can coach some ball. Goodness gracious.
Well, I think if you're Kentucky and Pope doesn't work out, I mean, I know Pitino's old, but I think they're desperate enough and it's worth it enough to just bring him in for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Just to get that thing back going.
Well, it only takes one.
Yeah.
It only takes one.
He's been there. He knows the job. But another thing is he fits so well in New York.
Yeah.
That Armani suit the other day, he fits good in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he is kind of like a mobster.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci needs to play, or not Joe Pesci. What the other guy? What's the guy? I can't remember his name now. Boardwalk Empire.
De Niro?
No.
Not.
But he needs to. Babe, who's the guy that played in Boardwalk Empire that's got the messed up teeth? Somebody will jump into the chat and tell me. Anyway.
Never mind.
Don't worry about it. We got to get it. So before we hit the top of the hour here, Rob's top 5 teams remaining based on how they played in the opening weekend. You can't go back and fix your bracket at this point. It's busted already. Believe me, I know. But, Rob, if you were to re-pick your bracket today, who are your top 5 teams going into the Sweet 16?
All right, number 1, I still got Arizona. And we talked earlier about reasons I still like them. I feel like they're on cruise control and just still easily got to the Sweet 16. And I think if you look ahead, I think they have the easiest rest of the way to go as any 1 seed.
Yeah.
Left. Number 2, I got Michigan. It's another team. We talked about how good St. Louis was after they ripped apart Georgia, whether they proceeded to rip apart St. Louis. Another thing, too, we know that what they have down low, but 22 threes in 2 games, if Michigan continues to shoot the ball like that, they're really, really dangerous. Number 3, Houston. Everybody knows I love Houston, but
Yeah, you do.
but to me, they had the best defensive performance of any team I saw in the tournament last weekend, and that's almost expected now. But that Texas A&M bunch, what they did to St. Mary's, I thought they were kind of back to what we saw earlier in the year, and then they just went on to dismantle them, just like it was nothing. Number 4, I have Michigan State, and I feel like that's kind of the team that nobody's talking about right now. Tom Izzo even made the statement that this team's playing so well they've delayed his retirement. They've got everything you want in a champion. They've got size down low with Kohler and Cooper. They have great guard play in Jeremy Fears, senior-led team. Those are 3 things that I look for in picking a championship. They play defense, and Tom Izzo knows how to win in March if anybody does. And I think right now they are a true contender in the toughest region in the bracket there in the East. You got Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, Illinois. All 4 of those teams, to me, are true contenders, and whoever makes it out of there is going to be definitely battle-tested and ready for the Final Four. And number 5, I got Texas. I mean, I think they have to be on the list because they're the highest seed left. They're 11 seed. Sean Miller's done a really good job turning that program around in just 1 season. And as I mentioned earlier, I think they have the best chance of any SEC team to win their next matchup.
Yeah. Well, I see what you did there. You left a certain team out. So for folks listening, Rob led right into, well, where's Duke?
That's a good question. They might still be in Durham because they have not shown up the first 2 games. And Rick Pitino already touched on it, and on their buzzer beater over Kansas, and he kind of elated to, I hope we can have another one against Duke, and everybody remembers the Christian Laettner shot against Pitino's Cats, and I think we're going to have a little bit of poetic justice this week, and Pitino's going to get a little bit of firepower back and get that notch over Duke.
So if I could repick that game, and I do have St. John's over Duke, or I do have Duke over St. John's, but if I could repick any game on my bracket at this point in time, that would be the one. I am completely with you. I would be very concerned if I'm one of these folks who has Duke to win it all. Not only do you have to go through Pitino and St. John's, but if you win that game, oh, by the way, congratulations, you get to take on Michigan State and or UConn.
And UConn. Sorry, I said Illinois a minute ago. Sorry, I meant UConn. But yeah.
Well, if you get through that game, you get to play one of those teams. And if they play the way that they played against Siena and TCU over the first weekend, I'll tell you what, they're not long for this bracket. They're going to be out of this bracket.
Yeah, no. And look, I know they beat TCU, but that game was really close. I don't know.
It was definitely closer than the score.
What the heck happened with that sequence? But it was like you blinked. Like there was like a flagrant and a technical, and you look up, it's tied, and then you look up and Duke's up by 8 points.
Right.
I'm not blaming the referees there, but I mean that was just the weirdest sequence. And then Jamie Dixon gets another technical, and then it's like 10, 12 points. But yeah, that to me is what saved Duke in that game, because I think TCU was about to beat them. If you are a Duke fan, I guess one thing you can say is we've played like dog doo-doo, and we're still in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So you do have a chance to flip the switch back. I just think unless Duke St. John's game has a official crew that just is going to be whistle happy, I think that the toughness and the physicality that St. John's brings, I just think it's going to be too much for Duke. And I think that we're seeing more and more Duke keeps leading on Boozer. Well, he's just not that dynamic two-way player we saw Cooper Flagg. He can't take over games like the way Cooper Flagg could. He's got to have the ball in the low post, and if you double him on the low post, Duke's surrounding cast members have not been good enough to blow these games out of the water like we know they're capable of doing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that stood out to me the most for Duke in the first weekend was, you expect to see the best basketball player in the country as far as Duke will argue him. Boozer standing head and shoulders above anybody else on the floor, and really he kind of faded into the floor with everybody else. He did not stand out to me at all. So I thought that was very interesting, and I don't know, maybe it's just a bad couple of games, maybe it was a bad weekend, maybe they come out, and that's the funny thing. Again, we talk about taking a week off and resetting and things like that. Maybe they come out and they look like the Duke that we expected them to going into the bracket.
And they're definitely very capable of that.
Yeah.
I mean on-roster talent that they're as good as anybody.
Right. But it has not showed to this point. Well, Rob, great job this morning. I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate you representing the show up there in first place. You're representing me well. I will say that.
It can change fast.
Unbelievable.
I'm trying to be like really can change fast because I don't want to pull you and end up like on a meme like the video.
No, he is.
I would never do that to you.
That's the thing, is that he is avoiding any kind of embarrassing moments like I have already set myself up for, and that just makes it. That's what makes him so good at picking all these games. He takes the emotion out of it. Me, I'm going to tell you that I'm the best and that I'm going to win and all these other things. And he's like the silent assassin over there with these just picking winners, just sniping winners, baby, over there. But a great job by you. And again, this just goes to show, folks, he gave you all the information you needed. It was up to you to take advantage of it, and not enough of us did, apparently, because he's sitting up at the top, and we're all looking up at him. But brother, great job, and we appreciate you coming in this morning to talk March Madness. And I see you in your Sunday red sweater over there.
I know it's March, man, but yeah, Tiger coming back, Masters on the horizon. It's got me fired up.
You been out on the course enjoying some of these warm days?
Played Sunday. I thought summer was back, and then I took the dog out yesterday morning. And
at least it wasn't snow on the ground.
Yeah, it felt like it could.
Yeah. All right. Well, for Chewy, I am Joe Abraham. Again, thank you to Rob Kortner for joining us this morning, as well as the ladies from High Point Health for bringing in Dr. Bear as well in the first hour. It was a fun and fast-moving show this morning on the starting lineup. Coming up next, we will have Reliable Rentals Swap and Shop. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1340 1069 WCDT Winchester.